All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Dad Life featuring the 1966 Thunderbird. And we're going to show you how this thing gets started. Again, these old cars are finicky, so it should be warm. It should start just fine. You want to make sure for these cars that it's all the way kind of a little above park. And we're going to put it in. Again, our starter is a little off, so we need to fix that. But you do one, that's your on, and now we're going to fire it up on first shot.
Real rumbly. Sounds like one of those loud diesel trucks or something.
Yeah, these things are loud. So this is a carbureted car, and it's loud when it warms up. Of course, it's a little warm outside today. It's a little it's nice. So she started right up. What we're gonna do is roll down the windows. Show you how that works. That one's a little wobbly when it goes down. This one we're gonna go like this. And you can hear that car, and frankly, you can smell that engine on these old carbureted cars.
No fuel emission standards.
No fuel emission standards.
No catalytic converter.
This thing, I think it's idling fast, but it is warming up. So we're gonna let it sit for a minute. But with these old cars, you do have to let them warm up a bit. You do have to get the juices flowing. You got to get that engine warm. Now when you drop it into gear, it's going to balance itself out in terms of its RPM. One thing that you don't see on the instrument cluster here is a tachometer. You don't see what RPM this car is running at, which is unfortunate. It'd be nice to see what its RPMs were right now, because like I said, you can hear it vibrating. I think this one has a high idle, so the carburetor is probably going to need to be looked at and probably adjusted down. But you kind of give it a little gas even. And she revs up good. And actually the idle came down a little bit after that, so that's good. But like I said, the steering it's tight right now, but it's a little loose. So the way it should do is you pull it forward and then bring it down into gear. And so I got my foot on the brake. We've got the emergency brake on. When I put it into reverse gear first, you're going to hear that emergency brake has an automatic release, and that's the problem with these things. Oh, see, look, it's already releasing by itself because it's vibrating out of park. So that's obviously a problem with these cars as they get a little older. That's why when you drive it, you got to keep your foot on the brake. Even if you're in park, because it'll vibrate its way out, and when it gets past the hard park, that emergency brake release will kick into gear, and it'll release it. Your car could start to roll. So we're going to go ahead and put this thing into gear, and it drops into reverse. Felt a little hard. Now this is a C6 transmission, and I'm not familiar with that transmission. I haven't driven one of these things since the 90s, so I got to become familiar with it. If you're a little more familiar with the C6 transmission, tell me if it should be a little hard kick like that, or if maybe we've got a transmission problem. Put it into neutral, and then drive, and there we go. She's in drive. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this thing for a little bit of a spin around the neighborhood. And if you look at the speedometer, you can see it bouncing around like a yo-yo. Put some sunglasses on because we're cool. Now this thing does have disc brakes in the front, drums in the back. So you've got that speedometer just bouncing around. We're barely going. It says I'm doing 35. Definitely not doing 35. It also feels like it's a hard shift into second gear. We're going to go ahead and turn again. We turn the blinker on. You probably can't hear it, but I can hear it. You have a click, but then you have the sequential blinker sensor in the back. It's a cam going. But if you look on the front end, you've got the blinker light indicator letting you know that it's blinking. So we're going to go ahead and turn. We're going to watch out for kids on the street. We're going to take it slow. And we're just going to give it a little gas. Now the one thing about these Thunderbirds is they are very powerful cars. This one has the 390 engine in it. It's got a C6 transmission. When we get her into top-notch working order, she's going to run great. But you see, I'm a big guy. These cars were, they're not very big on the inside. They're not as roomy as newer cars. I drive a pickup truck on a daily basis and a lot more room than this thing. But, it's comfortable. For an old car, like if this was a Mustang of the same year, I'd be able to like this. But because these were designed as a personal luxury vehicle, I can hang out the window halfway. I've got room between me and the steering wheel, and it's not hitting my legs. Go ahead and make another turn. Now we've got a little play in the steering wheel, but still it's very good. Probably a control arm or something that needs to be tightened or replaced. Got our disc brakes. Gives us some good stopping power. Got to remember, this car weighs 4,500 pounds before you put people and gasoline in it. It's got like a 20-gallon tank, so it's big. But it is great. I mean, it's a smooth driver. Now, I think it revs a little too high to get into second gear, so again, I don't know if we're having a transmission issue, or maybe if I'm not used to it, because the truck I drive is a 10 gear. It's a 10-speed, or 8-speed. I don't remember what Ford did in 2018. But this is a 3-speed. So you only have 3 cruising speeds. You got first, second, and third. And so it's going to rev a little higher probably before it kicks into the second gear. But if you know more about the C6 transmission than I do, let me know. I'd be interested to hear it. Now, we're also not as acceleraty as the modern cars, so we're going to let them all pass here. As we come around the turn, we're going to go ahead and go. Now, just listen to this engine if you can hear it.
It really does pick up speed quick. It's very, very zippy for a classic car.
I mean, this is a 4,500-pound car. Now we're still in first gear. It hasn't kicked over yet. I'm going to push it a little bit more. Still in first gear. Now, I don't know if it stays in first gear until like 30, 40 miles an hour and then kicks over. I thought it would kick over at like 15 or 20. Go ahead and go. Down the road. It's not a land yacht by any means, but it's just the same theory. It is a big, heavy, powerful car. Make another turn here. We're going to go up the road. The one thing about these classic cars is you definitely get looks everywhere you go. People look at you. They're interested to know what you're driving. This thing just drives real nice. Again, it's about a 7, 8 out of 10. I mean, she drives really good. There's not a lot of play in the steering wheel. There's a little bit, but not a lot. And if you know how to treat these old girls, they'll last for a long, long time. So I hope you like the drive perspective. I hope you like this little video. We'll be making more videos on all the things we fix in the Thunderbird. And we'll see you next time.